Developers.
New money media.
There is no second best.
What's going on, New Money? Hope you guys are doing well. Today we have something slightly different for you guys. We have an overview and a product demo for a company called Stakit.live. Stakit is a staking and SocialFi business-to-business software as a service platform focused on builders in the Bitcoin and Solana ecosystems. They offer non-custodial staking, quests, raids, item shops, leaderboards, data visualization, reward tools, and so much more to enhance user engagement and loyalty without taking custody of anyone's assets. Today, we're going to be talking to Jake from Stakit. He's going to be doing an overview of their company as well as a product demo, like I said. And at the very end, I'm going to ask some questions if there's time. Without further ado, we're going to go ahead and kick things off. Take it over to Jake. Why don't you tell us a couple of things about yourself? Give us a quick intro, a bit about who you are, what you're building, and how others can benefit from it.
Yeah, I can 100% do that. So, I'm Jake or Task. I've been doing things on chain, in blockchain, in the blockchain industry, as a simple user since 2019. I started by purchasing Doge, actually. I bought Doge quite early and sold it quite early for a minimal gain. So that was my first miss at generational wealth. I think I'll have about 12 to 100 of those in the last X amount of time we've been here. But I started with that, got involved a little bit. I saw ETH at like $90. I saw Bitcoin first at like 800. I was a college kid, did not have the funds to just like start purchasing all of the nice things that I thought were out there at the time. So like I said, I started with Doge and I bought a little ETH at the time, but I was only on like Robinhood purchasing things. I wasn't like fully involved in crypto. The first wallet I ever created was Phantom, because my buddy got me kind of involved in the crypto side, and we've done a bunch of different things together. His name's Blockchain Jake. He is on Twitter. He doesn't do as much in crypto anymore. He kind of just trades on the side, but good dude for sure. So I'll give him a shout. Then I got more involved on chain after creating a Phantom wallet, surprisingly, on Avalanche and Cosmos. Spent time on the Kepler wallet. I really loved their dashboard. Still one of my favorite wallets to this day. Cosmos is a bit in the bin, unfortunately, with the ecosystem. Hopefully they figure that out on a marketing sense, because I think that's really what they're missing. Anyway, the Avalanche side, I was doing GameFi and DeFi on DeFi Kingdoms specifically. It's their gaming side, and their subnets were very interesting to me at the time. And I think Avalanche is doing a good job. They're just in the layer 2 narrative, so hopefully they figure that out too, in some sense, because I think they're doing everything right now. Then I got more involved in Solana. Went to Solana NFTs, was there for the FTX crash, was there for the whole 9 yards. I was in the trenches with the boys, doing all the things. I ran a project, or helped run a project, I should say, as their main marketer, called Ghost Kid DAO. They had a software as a service as well. I did a whole bunch of stuff with them. I was on Spaces all the time. I, helped with how the product was supposed to look. I helped with the community curation. They're a bunch of the boys too. Eventually left that company. They let the community team go in 2023 of October. Got more involved with Stakit after that. I worked for a couple marketing agencies too during that time when I worked for Ghost Kid DAO. I worked for Icon Studios, which a bunch of the boys over there are amazing as well. And then I worked for Bell Studios for like 4 months during that time too. Bell Studios was Jakey's first studio that he worked with for a marketing agency. So I helped manage all of that. I was the COO for both Bell Studios and Icon for a period of time, helping kind of manage their flow for a little while. And then, Stakit kind of came to be as a company officially, but was worked on, and I would say at least for 6 months in 2023, where I kind of helped on the side. Then in 2024, it was established, which is great. And then we built on Bitcoin first, and now we're here moving to Solana for our second chain offering.
Ghost Kid DAO. I personally had one of the Ghost Kids.
Did you?
I remember the raid to earn feature very well.
Dude.
So to hear you talk about that was an instant flashback. Definitely some early Solana OGs. I wasted plenty of my bull market profits throwing them at NFTs that went to
Welcome.
zero. Yeah. So we've all been there, done that. Everybody says usually by your third cycle that you actually, have your bearing and actually are able to generate some wealth. So here we go. Sounds like we're on a pretty similar timeline there. But yeah, really cool to hear sort of how you've come to start working with Stake It and everything you guys are doing here. And sort of on that note, if you want to jump into exactly what is Stake It, what have you guys built out, and then what are you guys looking to build in the future?
Yeah, so we have the Git book here, which I can kind of explain a little bit here. So we created this entire app for builders to have effectively gain their time back, right? Like they gain their time back, they save a little overhead. It's not like a lot of builders are raising tons of funds. Some of them are building off of their own funds right now. It's not an easy landscape, especially with the current market sentiment to build, but I also think it's an important time to build. I think that the builders that are building now are the ones that are going to come out on top in the future cycles. So that's how crypto has always functioned in the sense. And I don't think that part is going to be different, though a lot of things will be different in the future with everything that's going on, from institutional investing to the way that it's expanding. But builders that build through the times like these are the ones that generally do come out in a better position. So we built this for builders. It's created for DApps, DEXs, SEXs, meme coins, NFTs, wallets, infra, DeFi. It doesn't matter. It's built for everybody. Anybody can come sign up to the website, and it's free. So that's the biggest thing, which is why we save builders time and money. You don't have to go find an outside dev team or have one dev that's working for you. To kind of build all of these different product offerings that are available. We give it to you completely for free. You can pick and choose what you want to take advantage of. You can mix and match. You can take the time to figure out what you want for community. You can turn things on and off. If you like a feature, you can go into your admin profile and you can turn it off. If you don't like, or if you do like features and you're like, okay, I want to add features, you can go into your admin profile and turn them on. Very simple. And we offer quests, raids, which is kind of the SocialFi side of things. We offer non-custodial staking. We also have what we call time lock staking, but the assets in your wallet that you stake never leave. They are just frozen for the period of time that the project decides that you have to lock up your assets, quote unquote. Then we have the storefront, which is
Do,
for
do you mind
effectively,
really
yeah,
quick,
yeah,
Cass,
yeah,
do you mind clicking through each of them as you describe them?
yeah, of course,
Awesome.
I could
Yeah.
do that.
So yeah.
So we have, I'll redo that one then. So we have So we have quests and raids. Quests effectively are for rewarding different social interactions on X, Discord, or Telegram. So we have a multiple functionality for that. In-app interactions can also be rewarded. If you stake different things, if you claim from pools, if you purchase things from our storefront, or if you have things that need to be done within the app that you're signing up with. So if you have an app, you're a corporate company, you already have a product out there, you can effectively have your users funnel into completing things in your app, and you can reward them on Stake It for doing that, which is awesome. I think that's one of the best features that we have for the Quest side. And then obviously X is great. That's follow, that's like, that's retweet, that's quote tweet. It's whatever it is. I want to be clear about this though. This isn't InfoFi. So InfoFi was you post to get rewarded, right? InfoFi was cooked. Rest in peace. Unfortunately, in some ways, unfortunately, in some not. It kind of just depends. These are manual interactions, and on the admin side, you have to do everything manually. There's nothing automated about it, because that was one of the things that InfoFi was taken out of the game for, was because everything was automated. There were a lot of bots, there were a lot of different things in terms of like how it just wasn't what X wanted on their platform, right? So I want to be clear about that, because we kind of we've never been categorized as that. We've always been categorized as a social fi side because of all the manual different things that have to happen there. But quests versus raids, I'll kind of explain that quickly here. Quests are more like a mainstay. Like as an example, if you're on our website, you get to see all of the different profiles that are set up. You'll be able to complete quests that are there consistently, like follow the founders, follow the main account, hit the pin tweet, do this, do that, do this in the interaction. Anybody that visits your profile on Stake It, you'll want those to be completed by the individuals visiting it. So they'll be there effectively forever until you take them down. Versus raids, which I would consider more of a sprint. where you're launching a piece of product, you're running a specific marketing campaign, you're doing something with your partners in the ecosystem, and you want it to be there for your community, but it isn't going to be there forever. So that's usually anywhere from you want your GMs hit every day to I'm going to run a 2-week campaign to push out this product, and you're going to be putting out tweets every other day or every single day, and you want people to hit those, but they're going to disappear. So those are more of like a sprint for people to complete that are actually there, that are actually active coming to your profile. So that's Raising Quests in the SocialFi in a nutshell. Then non-custodial staking, like I mentioned, the staking, unstaking your assets is all non-custodial. You don't have to worry, about anything leaving your wallet. Even the time lock staking feature, they're frozen in your wallet. They never leave it. It's specifically so that we don't have any access to what you have. That protects you. That protects us. The entire website in its entirety is non-custodial for that exact purpose. So staking, nothing special, but also available for everyone. You don't have to go and find a dev team to go build it for you. Storefront is also quite simple. So you can give away different things in the storefront that are on or off chain. You can run an in-game economy in some form or fashion. You can auction and give away art. Do you want it to be more of like a marketplace for you? Do you want to give away merchandise in real life? Do you want to, make sure somebody is able to get an event ticket from you and visit XYZ because they're going to be there and they can help represent you? Do you have brand ambassadors that you want to try to rally around in real life things? You can mix and match a lot on the storefront. I'm actually very excited for the storefront, especially because it gives companies that don't have a token an option to reward their communities, because we do offer off-chain points for anything from staking to the raids and quests. You can offer it in a point capacity rather than a token, which then those community members that earn that can go spend that quote unquote on the storefront for whatever you put up in there.
And before we move on, I just want to sort of recap for anybody who's maybe a little bit newer to Web3, some of the benefits of or I guess for anybody who's newer to Web3, just how cool and new and unique this concept is. Now, these are different businesses can go out and use the quests, the raids, the non-custodial staking, and they can incentivize their users to use their platform or to do certain things on their platform, and they can reward you if you actually do them. So the quests or the raids, for example, they can actually pay you to interact with a tweet, to like, retweet, comment, or whatever it is. Or the quest, if there's some other thing that you want them to do or interact with, maybe on your website, to test out a new feature or give feedback or something like that, then the businesses can now actually reward the users for doing that. And non-custodial staking essentially allows you to take a digital asset that you own, and you can let another person have, or I shouldn't say have custody, and you can get benefits from it. So you can receive community benefits from it and prove that you own it, but you still own the asset, which is what the non-custodial part of that means, is that you are still owning it. It's not in the custody of someone else. So there's just a couple of different things you can do with the storefronts here. For example, again, it's another way that different businesses who might not have a token or a different meme coin or a crypto that they're associated with, they can actually reward their users for interacting with their ecosystem. And Jake, just so for anybody, again, who's maybe less familiar, why is this different, or why would somebody who's a business owner want to use these features or something that's on the blockchain versus just have some sort of like regular like rewards system like a Starbucks, what they already have? What's kind of the difference there?
So because you're utilizing different things on chain from the perspective of this, right? You're locked if you're using a reward system to a specific company, right? Like obviously, if you're going somewhere every day, from Starbucks to McDonald's to wherever you end up going daily, you're gonna want to get rewarded for it. That's why you use the app. I think McDonald's mobile is actually pretty good. They, if you're using the mobile app, you get free things pretty consistently. Same with Starbucks, you get points and you can spend those things on different rewards. So the functionality is very similar from that sense. The difference is that this is for all the businesses that are signed up for Stake It. So you can see all those different things and you can go get rewarded for interacting with all of those different companies, right? Rather than you're just set to, XYZ company in Web 2. However, for on-chain participants, right, that are here every day, this makes sense for them because they're here every day and they can come visit Stake It every day and they can get rewarded for interacting with the different companies. So the function is exactly the same. It's just for people that want to participate.
Awesome. Very, very cool. Thank you for answering. Just want to do a little recap for anybody that's maybe newer to crypto. And I see we're also getting into some leaderboards and raffles and some other things that are more unique to Web3 or way easier to execute in Web3 than Web2. So why don't you tell us about those?
Yeah, I mean, leaderboard is classic. You know, there's going to be different functions in relation to the leaderboard from a gamification sense that you can, you know, take advantage of. Give me one sec here. My dog is barking, so I'm gonna let him freak out, and then I'm gonna restart that. Must be the male lady.
Yeah, classic.
Yeah.
Classic. I actually have to put something outside. I hope ours didn't come yet. Dude, hearing that you're a part of the Ghost Kid DAO that's so trippy, man. That was such a throwback.
Yeah, dude. I used to run it. I was the CEO. I ran everything.
Oh, I probably have some DMs with you guys. We paid you guys 6 SOL, 8 SOL, 10 SOL to be raids for us, bro. That
there you
shit
go.
was. What was that?
I said, there you go.
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
stuff. Business model is business modeling.
Yeah. When you were talking about the quests and the raids, I was just like, oh my god, this is
And
crazy.
brings you back, right?
Yeah.
No wonder why I understand that pretty well, right? I get it. Yeah, one time there was a guy. Our biggest payment for raids was some guy bought like 160 SOL worth of raids for like he bought like 50 raids, and I think he used a good chunk. He used like 23 of them or something like that. But yeah, 160 SOL worth of raids, dude. It was crazy.
Yeah, baby, that's a good business right there. Yeah. See, yeah, and the benefit of the Ghost Kid DAO too was a community PFP. Like so many people, it was like that cyclical nature. As I'm sure you know. But anyways, yeah. All right, yeah. Back to this. That show was a core memory in NFTs for me.
Oh, it should be. I think anybody that was in GKD really I don't know. It was just different, and I don't think we'll ever be able to get back to those days. I don't think it'll ever be the same, which is really unfortunate. If you were there, you were there, and it's just a core. I think it's just like a core long-term memory for a lot of people. So yeah, GKD was like $5 when it minted, dude.
That's crazy. I think I paid like 60 or 80 bucks, but it wasn't even, still I made money and it was fun. So who cares? But hell yeah, bro. Let's get it.
Let's get it. Okay, restarting. So you asked about the leaderboard. Extremely simple. Any leaderboard function you can imagine on any games or anything in relation to a Web2 sense. You go to a game, you're on a leaderboard, right? This is effectively the same thing. A lot of what's going to be in Stake It is going to be gamified. Every single project that signs up will have a leaderboard. You'll be able to utilize the leaderboard in some form or fashion. You'll be able to kind of customize what the leaderboard tracks so that you understand what your users are doing on the platform that you've set up for yourself through Stake It, so that you can find ways to reward them effectively, right? I would love to see, as an example, and some of this stuff is still being discussed with the devs to make sure that we do it when the leaderboard comes out from a full functionality standpoint. But if you're, completing certain types of quests, you're gaining points, and maybe there's a point level to unlock purchasing specific things on the item shop, right? Like if it's basically if you're XYZ on the leaderboard, you're allowed to go and unlock, quote unquote, the access to purchase certain things within the community economy. That would be a wonderful functionality. I don't think that's going to come out right away. I think it'll be a standard leaderboard. You'll be able to see what you've done on the platform. You earn points based on that. You'll go up and down on the leaderboard at Classic, but the whole point of the platform in general is to have it as gamified as possible. Gamification is an important thing. It's also a very overused buzzword in this space. A lot of stuff says they're gamified and they're not gamified. I've gamified things before in the past. I've seen how gamification functions, how it's important to make sure users are having fun, how users are is retention. Gamification is effectively a different word for retention. The more gamified something is, the more likely users will come back. They're having fun on the platform. They're earning things from the platform. They get to see their progress on the platform. It's an important facet. It's just a little bit overused as a word. But the leaderboard is an important thing.
but it's going to be pretty standard at first and kind of iterated on as time goes on, especially from community feedback. I think community feedback is extremely important. I can prove that we do have a trust pilot. There's 42 reviews on it. A lot of companies that are, we're a smaller company. A lot of companies don't have a trust pilot. You can see how much we've taken care of the community that we have up until now just by going and searching us over on Trustpilot, which I do think I'm very proud of. I'm hoping, on Solana launch, we get well over 100 different reviews. I think that would be wonderful to kind of be able to go over here on Solana and get closer and closer. Because the only crypto company that really has a crazy amount on here is MoonPay. And whatever guy was able to get MoonPay to 106K, hit me up. Let me know.
No comment. Yeah, no comment on that one. Interesting. Very interesting. That's cool that you guys have the reviews on there. What website is that again?
Trustpilot.
Yeah, that's cool. You guys have reviews on Trustpilot. That's something that not a lot of Web3 companies have.
Correct. Which is why we kind of did it. And like I said, I'm very proud of it because, Web3 creators have to go and register with their actual name. They have to go put in their personal information to actually go register on Trustpilot to go review something. It's not like a quote unquote quick sign up process to go on Trustpilot. So I'm very thankful for the 42 people that went and gave us these reviews. Because it takes time, right? It takes time out of their day to go do. It's not like an instant thing that happens. You can't just go and be like, click, I'm going to give this. And then I'm just going to write this, but all these users had to go write, all of these things. On here, you can see this is from the, I guess you could say the AI review kind of filter that says different things that we have. We tried really hard to make sure everybody was taken care of, and we still are, and we're going to make sure everybody's taken care of on Solana with the platform as well. So very, very happy with that. But yeah, leaderboard, we'll move on to raffles. Raffles, I don't have anything here. It's the last thing that's going to come out. You can imagine raffles as people put up a digital asset or off-chain asset. I would say less likely. That would more likely go into the item shop for some type of purchase. But the raffle side, very simple. I think everybody understands gambling. This is closer to what gambling would be, I would say, on the website in general. But something can be put up from a digital asset perspective. People can bid on it. They put in the amount that the project sets to bid on that specific thing. And then if you win, you win. It's very simple. It'll have a nice UI UX. People will be able to see all the different raffles that are running. They'll be able to participate in them if they want. Extremely simple. I wish I had a picture here, but the UI UX is not completed for that yet. That's the last thing that's going to be coming out here for the product offerings. But that's okay because I can instead go right into the Solana app.
Yeah, let's check out some of the apps now. Let's see these in action. This looks really good. Everything looks really smooth.
If it wants to load.
When it wants to be.
I'll reload it here and see if we can get it to go. There we go. So this is the app. The only thing that's going to be viewable here, because we are testing this first here, and we're going to be, offering, like I said, all of these different features, which you kind of saw here on the Gitbook. But you can enter different quests. You can check in. If you enter quests, it's going to join. And, it does all the different things. It takes you to the tweet. This is specifically for X. Again, this is for Discord X. And Telegram as of right now, and in-app interactions. Quests and raids will be first. Raids, you'll see it says coming soon, so we're not going to be able to see the different features here. But like I said, we are getting closer and closer every day to getting out everything that we want. But this is effectively the dashboard that you would see. And then from a admin perspective, let's see here. And I have to do this. So this is how the admin side will look. See how it says add socialify, add item. That would be for item shop. You get to see different statistics associated with your project for free. So you get all the data that you want.
If there's tokenomics, you can add those things in relation to opening different pools. Because right now this is basically only open for off-chain points as we get everything kind of moving on our side. So the devs are pushing different things out every single day. We're hoping for like roughly a 3-week campaign for launching different product offerings, starting with the quests and raids, then going to kind of the staking and item shop, and then raffles should be last. And then we'll kind of market that as we go. We're a small team, so we want to make sure every single piece of the product is taken care of, not only for ourselves, but also for the customers and the consumers that we have in association to the different product types, because we've talked to a lot of the products in the background to see kind of what they want. A good chunk of them wanted the SocialFi first, so we took that information and we're doing the SocialFi side first and then launching everything in succession and making sure it's all good to go. And as the products come out, they kind of will function um, from an audit perspective. Everything will be audited before it gets launched. That's going to be extremely important as well. Security for users is an important facet. And that's basically what we're going to have. I mean, that's Stake It in a nutshell. This is free for builders. Anybody can come sign up if they'd like from a user or creator perspective. It takes away the overhead of having to worry about if this dev team you hired is completing the things that you want. Um, it takes away from spending 10 to 100K depending on how many products you want. So it takes away the overhead from a monetary perspective. And it saves you a lot of time, right? Like, this doesn't, you don't have to wait for this. Your community, if they have to wait for things for a long period of time, will more than likely diminish as you kind of have to wait for different things. If there's delays, people, it starts to diminish, people move on. We just give you the full tech stack here for completely free. And we take fees off of users. It's extremely simple. I'll kind of show you here. So if somebody purchases a raffle, if somebody purchases something from the storefront, if somebody stakes or unstakes, that's going to cost exactly $1 on the user. And then the SocialFi side is lower because it wouldn't make sense for a project to give away 40 cents worth of XYZ and then charge a whole dollar, because you're claiming less than you're actually spending. So that's 25 cents based on different feedback we've gotten from ecosystem individuals, from our advisors, from different people. It's extremely simple from that perspective, and we kept it simple. And then, as you can see, it says buyback of SDK and operations. The whole point, actually, so the token is kind of the backup plan. We're actually hoping to do tokenized equity, which is effectively, we go live on a stock exchange. We're going to Switzerland first. We kind of already have some connections there that we're speaking to be able to get listed. It's effectively just performance based. You have to meet certain metrics once you launch in order to get there, and then hopefully we can launch on the Swiss exchange in Q2 or Q3 of this year would be the goal. And Solana's first, right? So, well, I should say second, because Bitcoin was first, but Solana's first this year, right? So Solana's first this year that we're going to, and then the other blockchains that we will be kind of moving forward with will be Ethereum, Abstract, Base, and Hyperliquid will be the other ones this year that we're looking to go to. But Solana will be kind of the first one that we're moving to. So that's where we're at. I'm excited for it. I think that this is going to be great for different builders in the ecosystem that don't have access to these type of things. I think it's going to give them back their time and a lot of their energy to kind of take care of their community properly so they can build out their business the way that they imagine.
Absolutely. Really interesting stuff. I appreciate that you guys are building tools to help other founders be able to grow, or just other people. I think at the end of the day, a lot of us are going to be content creators. So anybody who's really a creator in the space can benefit from this platform. But I want to take things back to the tokenized equity plan. Let's jump back over there. Can you explain this to me a little bit more? So are people going to have the opportunity to actually be able to own some equity when you guys do IPO in Switzerland? Are we going to have to dox ourselves and do the whole sort of investor thing, fill out some forms, or what's this process going to look like for people in the community?
Yes, so that is a great question. The fact of going public is, yes, you would have to, effectively, if you want to purchase the stock, if you earn the stock from doing different things, because as an example, if we're not doing a token, there are people that perform different things on the platform, especially on the Bitcoin side. You will have to claim that. You will have to be verified as an individual in order to claim those things, which is completely understandable. It won't be through us. It'll be through like Samsub as an example, which is one of the premier, like I guess you could say, like ID verification companies that are out there that everybody uses, including Coinbase. That's who we would more than likely end up going through. But yes, you would be able to purchase, those things. You'd be able to claim those things. It just depends on if you're willing to do it, right? If that's it's extremely simple. Then the tokenized equity would be on Solana. So like you would be able to trade, different things there on chain in order to, I guess you have 24/7 access to it for tokenized equity, and that's how we're going to kind of move forward with the stock itself, which I think is very exciting. I think tokenized equity is going to be one of the buzzwords this year, for sure. We decided on tokenized equity last year, so it's not like we're behind the curve. We didn't just like come up with this out of nowhere. We did prepare a tokenomics plan specifically for the fact of a token just in case, but we probably prepared the tokenomics plan almost a year ago. So we prepared, the tokenomics plan for what it was. And if we're not able to do tokenized equity, we would end up just doing a basic token for the company specifically.
Thank you for going over that. I know it's very interesting to all of us, or a lot of people in the space who are looking to get involved in some investment opportunities as early as possible. On that note, have you guys done any fundraising so far? If so, how much? If you guys are able to talk about it, do you plan on raising more capital soon? What's going on there?
Yeah, so we basically just raised what we thought we needed. We didn't over raise in any sense. We've been raising for a couple months now. So we had a $2.5 million raise, which was a strategic raise, which we're close to finishing. I think we have about 160K left, which is great. And I would love to get that finished so that I can focus on clients here, especially for this next month. So we're looking to hopefully finish it up in the next, I would say, T-3 weeks. And then we should be good to go. So, if there are people out there that are interested, feel free to find my contact information. You can find me just about anywhere. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Telegram. My handle is exactly the same. It's relatively simple. It's always _OBLAK. So you can find me for sure. We are on LinkedIn as well. I think we have like 2,300 on LinkedIn. You can find people associated with Stakit on LinkedIn too, including me. Relatively simple. The team is doxed. It's not like we're coming out of anywhere to be bad actors, I guess you could say. I don't think being extractive in this ecosystem is way too mainstream. It's what everybody talks about as well. So we're just kind of trying to be the opposite of that to make sure that builders and creators are actually taken care of and make sure that they can perform from a startup sense in this ecosystem, because I think being a startup in this ecosystem is probably the hardest thing that you can decide to do. So if we can help with any of that, right, from a product sense, from activating their community, from making sure that they don't have to sit there and build all these things themselves, while also building out their business model, that's what we're here for. That's what Stakit is.
Beautiful. Stakit, I appreciate you guys for answering all these questions so far. I do want to throw it back to you. Is there anything else you wanted to show off of the website, or any other features that you guys are looking to introduce soon before I ask you some other general questions that I had?
I don't have too much else. We kind of are where we are. This is our Bitcoin side here. So we have all of this stuff already live for Bitcoin. In terms of the difference between Bitcoin and Solana, in terms like building on it specifically. So for Bitcoin, we only offered this product for ordinal communities, and ordinal communities versus NFT communities. If anybody has ever heard of NFTs, for here, it's extremely simple. So ordinals are directly inscribed on the Bitcoin blockchain online. So when you inscribe an ordinal, it's put onto a Bitcoin block, right? Versus an NFT, yes, it is created on the blockchain that you created on, but the data for it is held on cloud storage oracles, such as Chainlink, as an example, that are off chain for from a picture sense, right? So the interaction happens on the blockchain that it's minted on, but the actual data is stored on cloud servers off chain. So that's usually how that works. For ordinal individuals, it is actually directly inscribed on the chain, and then the data is held on Bitcoin. So that's the biggest difference between the two sides of the digital assets. And then we only created this app for ordinal communities. So on the flip, on Solana, it's for corporate entities, it's for businesses, it's for NFT collections, it's for meme coins, it can be for anybody. But for Bitcoin, it was just for ordinals. We ran a beta test and launched it last year for about 3-4 months, and we had about 46 clients for Bitcoin specifically, but that's just for ordinal communities. So we're expecting, relatively, I would say, at least a 3x in terms of performance over on Solana, simply because we have it available for a much wider berth from a pool for different creators that are out there, rather than just being locked to one class of builders.
What's the difference then for EVM chains? I know you guys are getting into those next. How do they differ in terms of like the actual storage of the metadata?
EVM chains should be the same as as Solana. So like stuff stored off chain. It shouldn't be any different than that. That's kind of how it's always functioned. Is there's a third party provider that allows, basically hooks back the data to the chain that it's providing that service for. So EVM chains should be relatively the same.
Interesting. Who else is on the team for you guys? How big is the team? Do you guys plan on expanding anytime soon?
Yeah, we may expand the team. We have a mod, Dolex. He helps out a lot, which is great. He's definitely fantastic to have. He's been definitely one of the more active ones as of late, just to help out and make sure things are taken care of. I have my co-founder, Kobe. Kobe has been, in the space, I would say, a little bit less than me, but he's also younger. So I'm 30, he's 20. So he's, cooking. He goes to all these different events. He was just at ETH Denver. He was at the Solana Hong Kong event for APAC. And he went to Breakpoint. So he's been kind of at all the things that we need to be at in order to find success from a client perspective and from an investor perspective. So he's done a really good job. He's kind of my partner here for those things. From the other side, we have a customer service rep that helps out when he can. He hasn't been as active the last couple months because we onboarded as many projects as the Bitcoin ecosystem kind of could provide in that sense, which he helped out immensely for that. Would not have been able to do it the same without him. And he's kind of just been waiting for the Solana launch to kind of reactivate kind of his services that way. But he's been with us for a very long time. His name is Tish. He helped me out on GKD as well, on Ghost Kids. So he was there. He was the community manager for a long time over there. So shout out him. And then we have a couple, I would say, like interns. We have 2 different interns that assist on a variety of different things. They help out with some branding stuff. They help out with some marketing and graphics. They do some dev work. They help out on the business ops side. They're kind of like a Swiss Army knives, I guess you could say. And they help out when they can, because I would consider them a little bit more part-time than the rest of us. But other than that, we have a dev team. We're partnered with Gizmo. I can kind of pull them up. We're partnered with Gizmo Lab here. They're the ones that are building out our Solana side. We built the Bitcoin side out in-house. So this is kind of the team that's going to be working with us, or is working with us at current, for the Solana product offerings and the Ethereum product offerings that will come out from Stakit. And they also used to work, or do work, I should say. I shouldn't say used to. They work with Glide. So this is the founder. He's the co-founder of Glide. Glide, here has done a decent chunk of stuff for all of these things: DEX predictions, perps on Solana. They're I would say they're relatively well known. Some big KOLs, like Sweep, as an example, is an affiliate for Glide. And then Jeremy as well is an affiliate for Glide. I would say, they're quite large. They're also co-founders of Glide. So we're working with the same team that built out Glide to kind of build out our product offerings. So excited to be able to work with them, I think they're a great team. They do a good job. They make sure everything looks very nice, and it's it's exciting to be able to work with that and have a dev team, because before we just had a couple devs. Building on Bitcoin takes a long time in the first place, and then just having a couple devs takes even longer. It took almost 2 years to get the Bitcoin product out. It's in its entirety, to make sure it was good. And Solana has only been being built for about, I'd say, like 4 months in its entirety. Um, so in terms of the timeline to get things out, it's definitely easier to build on Solana and not easy to build on Bitcoin. But that's okay, because we built on Bitcoin first. We still help the communities there. If people that are building on Bitcoin still want to use us, it's not like we're going anywhere. Like, we're still available over there from a full product suite for them.
If it was easy, everybody would do it. That's for sure. So that's why we're here, and some of the other founders are gritting our teeth and bearing through the bear market. Hopefully, we'll fly in the bulls. So appreciate you for answering those questions. Sort of on that note, and similarly, what's your guys' marketing strategy or go-to market strategy here once Solana does launch? You guys mass DMing people, or how's that working for you?
So pretty simple for the marketing strategy. We are going to be rolling it out, effectively the similar function that we did with Bitcoin. We did everything mainly grassroots. We did all of the DMs ourselves. We reached out to different products. We had phone calls. I would say a good chunk of our investors that we have, which are all angel investors, by the way, we don't have any VCs involved at the current moment in time. Are going to be bringing us clients that are on Solana. They have clients that they want to bring. There is a retention model, or I would say a referral system in place for that, as well. So they see it as, okay, I'm going to bring you X clients, and I can kind of recoup what I've decided to put in as a check, with you guys, if those clients are going to end up using us. So it's very simple. If you're an investor, you've invested in X amount. It doesn't really matter the amount. We have people that have given us less. We have people that have given us more. You get 25% of all of the revenue that churns through a client that gets onboarded from you, and that kind of scales down for 10 months, 2.5% each month, until it ends at 2.5% forever. And that can be, that's for the time it onboarded, right? So it's not like, okay, I onboarded on the 26th of X month, and then I only get 6 days of revenue at the highest percentage. It's from the day I onboarded, and then it kind of goes from there and scales down. For general users, it's possible to earn revenue off of the platform. It's just 10% scaling down for 4 months and then ending at 2.5%. So you get less, but at the end you get more, or the same amount, I should say, as someone that has invested. And that's kind of how that works for the referral system, for us, which we're excited about. We're happy to give back to whoever wants to onboard projects. I think that's an important facet. It's if they're doing the BD for it, and all we're doing is making sure the client is taken care of on our side. It's pretty simple. We're not going to be able to go find everybody. We're a small team. We're going to do our best to go out and find clients, and we have a good chunk of clients that are already interested in using us and the different product offerings that we have. But there's always more out there. There's always pockets of the social ecosystem that you don't know about. There's always projects that you don't see. um, and I think giving the opportunity for everyone to win as a true rewards funnel app, is an important facet to making this a success. Because if you can earn off of finding clients, if you can earn off of completing SocialFi campaigns, if you can earn off of staking, if you can earn is the word, right? Like, people want to earn, and then if it's gamified and if it's free, it makes a lot of sense. So.
I love it. Everybody's definitely looking to earn. Grassroots marketing is what you guys are doing. Who's your guys' biggest competition? Is it AI? Are you guys sweating it all right now with all the SaaS apocalypse that's going on? What are your thoughts on all of that? Hit me.
Um, so biggest competitors, I would say, from a model perspective, especially on like the SocialFi side, are probably Galaxy, Zeely. I think the things about Galaxy and Zeely, one, their UI UX is quite outdated. They've been around for a long time. They haven't had to update it for much. They do have a large chunk of clients, in the space for their SocialFi things. But the biggest thing is that they charge retainer fees, anywhere from 1.5K to 15K a month, to kind of use them, right? It's not an inexpensive thing. And from that perspective, coming out and being free as a business model for the builders instead of having to pay a retention fee also allows them to take a chunk of the money they would have normally spent on the retainer fee and just give it right back to users. So like that's the biggest thing. It saves them a chunk of money. I think that's good for projects. They don't have to worry about like that overhead anymore. And we have I would say, a more gamified experience that makes sense. And what's even better is those companies just offer SocialFi. We have a lot more product offerings that are available for people within the app than rather than just SocialFi. So it's kind of like an all-in-one community hub versus like, oh, I have to go here, 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 pay retainer fees on XYZ. Who knows how much that's going to cost you on a monthly, in order to use these things. And that's kind of the pitch there for that.
And are you guys afraid of AI at all? And people just kind of vibe coding different staking sites, or what are your thoughts on differentiating from all these AI bots?
Man, AI, that's a tough question because it's going to get better and better. I think you just have to be willing to do your due diligence on the actual validity of things in the future, whether it's a product or whether it's a person, right? I don't think it's going to be an easy thing. I think everyone should be worried about AI in some capacity, because who knows where it's going to be in a year. Look at how far it went in 1 year, last year specifically. The growth is absolutely insane. So I don't have a prediction on what it's going to change, but I do know that it will change a lot. So I guess as a team in business or in Web3, I don't think it matters where, is you have to be able to adapt to the situation and circumstances that you're in. We've always been relatively good at adapting to different things. So as AI progresses, we will progress as a company as well and do what we can to make sure to match the kind of sentiment that it's creating.
What is your I agree, a million percent. No matter what, we're gonna have to adapt to whatever's coming our way. What is your prediction for staking and SocialFi in general for 2026? And I guess what's your prediction for you guys as well in 2026?
Um, can you say that one time?
Yeah, what is, I guess, two questions. So let me ask them one at a time. What's your prediction for, I guess, SocialFi in 2026? Like, do you think it will take off? Do you think it's going to kind of go on a lull with the bear market? And then what's your prediction for, I guess, you guys more broadly for 2026?
Um, I mean, SocialFi, I think, will always have a place. People want to be rewarded for the things that they do, especially on-chain interactions that they're doing from a social perspective. I think SocialFi, will always be in the mix, whether it's a bull or a bear. I think that's a good case for us in general in terms of like how we're functioning as a company. SocialFi will always be around because people are always going to be here and they're going to want to be rewarded for the things that they're doing. So I don't think it matters if it's a bull or a bear. I think that SocialFi can even be more powerful in a bear sometimes, depending on how you can rally your community around the things that you're doing. And what you can do for them specifically, especially through the app, right? So SocialFi will have a place. I don't think it's going to be the hottest commodity. I think something else out of the blue will take the cake this next year. Who knows? Last year was privacy. Privacy and privacy chains went absolutely nuts, especially towards like the latter half of Q4, beginning of Q3, and they kind of took the narrative leading into the new year. There's going to be something else like that happened this year, and it just kind of it'll go from there. But SocialFi, I think, will always be around. It'll always be available. People will be able to do things. They want to be rewarded for it. Very simple.
Beautiful. And I agree. And we'll see where it leads to. Only time will tell how this all plays out. Who knows what's going on? Definitely know that you guys have come from a pretty solid background. You guys have a really solid grounding beneath you guys. And seems like a pretty optimistic future ahead. So, Task, I appreciate you jumping in with us today. Is there anything else you want to leave us with? Any other alpha? Anything we might have forgot that you want to leave us with before we move on? Or you head out of here?
Not too much, man. We host spaces every week, so feel free to keep an eye out for those. Definitely on Tuesdays, sometimes on Thursdays. I'm going to be hosting one here today in a little bit. I have I have a phone call I got to do here after this, and then I'll probably be running it. So feel free to stop by. You can always ask questions. Hit the Discord. That's where we kind of have our hub. You can join the Discord. You can check it out. Extremely simple from that perspective. If you want to get involved, and we're always happy to help. If you have different ideas that you see on the app that you might want, we'll even be doing white labeling in the future to kind of have more of a homey feel to kind of your project, just not right away. If you want to like skin it in the capacity that you want it skinned in, right? So like people will be able to kind of white label things like that. And if you want to get involved, just hit the DMs, right? Like we're available for people if they want to see what Stake It's all about, and we can go from there.
Thank you, Task. Appreciate you as always. And for anybody who's looking for some more information, you can find it in the comments down below. It's going to be one of the pinned comments or in the description. You guys can see a lot of the different links if you guys want to check out Stake It and you want to get involved, or you want to DM Task and get involved with any of the last investing rounds that they have to do, or any of the investing that they have to do to finish up their last raise. But Task, I appreciate you for joining us today. Anything else?
No, Joe, thank you for having us. I appreciate the time and the stage. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at. We're happy to be launching on Solana here shortly.
Awesome. Looking forward to more updates. We'll definitely get you guys on the show in the future. But for now, we're going to have to head out of here. Thank you so much, Task. Have a great rest of your day, man. Peace.
Thanks. You as well. Peace.